Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire. We do here is fire. You guys know the drill, so let's get right to the show I got for you guys today. We got a packed show for you guys. We got 4 segments we're going to go over. 1, we got big college football games on Saturday. 2, we got week 6 of the NFL season. 3, we're going to go over some baseball playoff series right now, and some shocking people and teams are still in the running to win the World Series right now, which no one would have figured. And then last but not least, we're opening day of the NHL and how the top teams will do, and some games to look forward to in the coming days, and some key dates throughout the NHL season that you guys should circle on your calendar to watch, because it's going to be a great season. But let's move on to number 1, which is big college football games this Saturday. So I was going to go over the number 1 team, the number 2 teams, but they're playing pretty shit teams. You got number 1 Georgia at Vanderbilt. We know who's winning Georgia. You got Indiana unranked at number 2 Michigan. Michigan's taking the dub there. Number 3 Ohio State Buckeyes at Purdue. You guys know Ohio State's killing them. And then you got number 4 Florida State at home against Syracuse. I got Syracuse being a little close game, but I got Florida State taking the dub here. They got Arkansas at number 11 Alabama. Got to go with Alabama on this one. Arkansas is going to give them a good run, but I think Alabama takes the dub here. Michigan and State and Rutgers, both teams unranked, but let's go Rutgers right here. Then you got Penn State Penn State home against Massachusetts. Penn State's gonna rout the shit out of Massachusetts. Then probably the game of the night or the game of the day. You got number 8 Oregon at number 7 Washington, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC. I'm going with Oregon taking the upset at number 7 Washington's house. I got Oregon taking the dub here. Another really good game coming from you guys will be probably Auburn at LSU. Number 22 LSU, even though number 22 LSU is ranked and Auburn isn't, I think Auburn's going to give them a good run, but I think LSU takes the dub here on ESPN at 7 o'clock. Then probably the second game of the night will be number 10 USC going on to take the fight on to Fighting Irish, and number 21 Notre Dame at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, NBC and Peacock. I got Notre Dame taking the upset at home and beating USC, and Caleb Williams front running for the Heisman Trophy and probably the number 1 pick in this year's draft coming up. Then you got number 25 Miami at number 12 North Carolina at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time at ABC. I got with number 12 North Carolina holding down the fort at home, beating number 25 Miami. Then you got number 18 UCLA at number 15 Oregon State. I got UCLA taking the upset at Oregon State at 8 o'clock on Fox. That pretty much wraps up the college football schedule for this weekend and some big games that you guys should watch. Now let's move on to week 6 of the NFL season. We got Broncos and Chiefs tomorrow night. I got the Chiefs taking the dub in that one. We got Ravens and Titans at 9:30 a.m. in London. I got Ravens taking the dub over the Titans. Then you got Panthers at the Dolphins at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I got the Dolphins taking the dub here. Saints at the Texans. I'm going with the Texans to beat the Saints at home. I got the Commanders at the Falcons at 1 as well. I'm going with the Falcons. Hate the Commanders. Let's go Falcons all day. Bijan Robinson's a hell of a player. Colts at the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are going to win this. Colts are probably not going to have Anthony Richardson for the next 4 to 8 weeks. So we'll see how that goes with them. But they got a good backup. But I think the Jaguars still take this dub at home. Seahawks at the Bengals. I think the Bengals go off of what they had in Arizona, beating them 31-20. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase playing phenomenal. I think the Bengals take the dub against Seattle as well. You got the Vikings at the Bears. I know the Vikings are playing shit this year, but they got no Justin Jefferson about 4 weeks now. Bears still got their squad. I got Justin Fields and the Bears taking the dub at home against the Vikings. 49ers at the Browns. I hopefully thought that the Browns would have Deshaun Watson, but at the same time, he might be out this week with an injury, still with that shoulder injury. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the 49ers winning this game, even though they beat my Cowboys. They beat the shit out of my Cowboys last week on Sunday night, 42-10. But I do think if the Browns were fully healthy with Njoku, with Deshaun, I think they would give the 49ers a run for their money. But if those guys are out, I think the 49ers demolish the Browns at the Browns. Patriots at the Raiders at 4:05. Patriots just got blasted 38-3 against the Cowboys, 34-0 against the Saints. I think they're going to come into this and they're going to beat the Raiders after the Raiders kind of just barely beat the Packers on Monday night 17-13 with a game-winning pick six. Not game-winning pick six, game-winning interception that kind of sealed the deal in the end zone against Jordan Love and the Packers. So I got the Patriots winning that game. Then you got the Lions at the Buccaneers. I got the Lions taking the dub here over the Bucs. I think the Bucs and the Lions are going to be a really good game at 425, but I do have the Lions taking the edge over the Bucs this game. You got the Cardinals at the Rams at 425 as well, division game. I got the Rams taking the dub here at home, even though the Cardinals had a close win, close loss. It was in the game, the whole game against Cincy until the last touchdown with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow to go over 11. But I think the Rams take the dub here at home. Then you got the Eagles and Jets. Now, the Eagles realistically are going to win this game. But if Jets and Zach Wilson have a hell of a game like they did against Kansas City, the Jets have a chance to win that game just like they did against Kansas City. But I think if the Jets have another game like that, I think the Jets pull out a win against the Eagles at home at the Jets. But realistically, I think the Eagles take this dub. Now, the Giants at the Bills. Daniel Jones might not play with a neck injury. I got Buffalo and Josh Allen coming off the loss in London to the Jaguars, losing 25-20 the way they did. I got the Buffalo Bills demolishing the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Basically, kind of just like the 49ers demolished the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Then, like we've been saying, we have my Dallas Cowboys, America's team, at the Chargers on Monday night on October 16, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. We need to come out there wanting to give hell. I got the Cowboys, of course, winning this game. But if we don't win this game, we're going to have a lot of questions, and we are not a Super Bowl contender, and we are not a playoff team. I might consider if we go 3-3 after 2 back-to-back losses, and there is no, oh, we just lost by a little, we'll get there. We need to beat the brakes off the Chargers and cement themselves as still one of the best teams in the NFL. We are just not better than the Eagles right now and the 49ers and maybe Detroit in the NFC right now. So we got to cut back onto the swing of things and beat the crap out of the Chargers, because if we don't, there's going to be a lot of questions, and you know Stephen A is going to be on the Cowboys like always. So let's hope the Cowboys come to play on Monday night at the Chargers and beat the shit out of the Chargers. That goes for say. That is done for Week 6 of the NFL season. We are now moving on to the MLB postseason playoff picture right now. So like we went over last week, we had the Blue Jays, number 6 ranked, against the Twins, number 3 ranked in the series. That series went only 2 games, and it went 2-0 series win by the Twins, beating the Blue Jays, sending them home early as the Twins move on to play the Houston Astros in a series in the ALDS. Then the Texas Rangers against the Tampa Bay Rays. Texas beat the crap out of Tampa Bay, winning 2-0 in that series, moving on to play the Baltimore Orioles in the ALDS. And in that case, Twins against Houston in the ALDS. The Twins got 1 game, but Houston took advantage of the lackluster pitching and inconsistency of the Twins and going to move on to the ALCS, beating the Twins 3-1 in that series. And then the Texas Rangers absolutely shocked everybody by beating Tampa 2-0, then beating the Baltimore Orioles in the ALDS 3-0 and sweeping them to move on to play the Houston Astros to the ALCS for a chance to move on to the World Series. Now moving on to the national side, we had the Arizona Diamondbacks at number 6 versus the Milwaukee Brewers at number 3. Arizona beat the shit out of Milwaukee, winning 2-0 in that series, and moving on to the NLDS to versus the Dodgers at 2. You had the 6 versus the 2. Then you had the number 5 Miami Marlins versus the number 4 Phillies. Phillies demolished the Marlins 2-0 in that series, moving on to the NLDS to play the Atlanta Braves. Right now, Arizona looks like they are going to win this game and against the LA Dodgers and is going to move on to the NLCS. But let me double check with that right now to see if the Arizona Diamondbacks did eventually beat the Dodgers to move on to the NLCS, which would be a shocker, and that would be a sweep. So we would have 2 sweeps in the ALDS and an NLDS of the number 2 seed and the number 1 seed. The number 5 beating the number 1 and the number 6 beating the number 2. Now, Philly has a 2-1 series lead over Atlanta after the win today. Atlanta's in trouble, man. The best team in the league, best record in the league, and they might lose to Philly. And Philly has another shot to get to the World Series in the NLCS, and it probably will be. I'm hoping it's going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Atlanta Braves in the NLCS, as Arizona beats Atlanta to move on to the World Series, and as Texas beats Houston to move on to the World Series, and Texans finishes it off against the Arizona Diamondbacks, winning the World Series. That's how my playoff picture is going to go. Next week, we're going to go over some key details on how the series is going to go, who wins the series, who's the biggest player out of this series, and who makes the difference. And we'll see if I'm right. Let's hope the Texas Rangers beat Houston and send them packing early and not in the World Series. So let's go Texas to win it all. Now, moving on from that, we're going to go to our last segment here on the Fire Sports Pod show. We're going to go over key dates for the 2023-2024 NHL season. But before that, we're going to see if the Dodgers actually beat the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Arizona is up 4-2 in the top of the 7th against the Dodgers right now in Game 3. It is looking like Arizona will fulfill what they had. They were up 4-0 this whole game, and they just scored. Dodgers just scored in the top of the 7th, 2 runs. They're still in the top of the 7th right now, so we'll see what happens. But it looks like Arizona's going to hold on. They still got 2 more innings, but if Arizona holds on, it's going to be a sweep, and they're moving on to the NLCS. That's going to be crazy. Now, like I said, moving on to our last segment of the Fire Sports Pod show here on YouTube. Right after this, we're going to be recording our Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This will be posted on Friday at 5 a.m. So let's go over opening day, NHL, and some top teams, how they'll do, and maybe go over we're going to go over the key dates during this NHL season. So first up, like I said, we had opening day on October 10th. We had the Predators versus the Lightning at 5:30. We had the Blackhawks versus the Penguins at 8, and we had the Kraken versus the Golden Knights at 10:30. Tampa Bay took care of business against the Predators, winning 5-3, and Pittsburgh Penguins had a shocker at home, losing to the Blackhawks and Connor Bedard 4-2 at 8 p.m. And then you had the Golden Knights versus the Kraken. It was the celebration, it was the banner review and all this bullshit, and the Golden Knights absolutely demolished Seattle, winning 4-1 at 10:30 last night. So moving on to that, on October 29th, 2023, we have the NHL Heritage Classic. The Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers will face off on Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton on October 29th. The outdoor facility is home of the Canadian Football League Edmonton Elks. So that'll be pretty cool. It's going to be on an actual football field, a Canadian football field. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a cool night. So you guys should tune in on October 29th on the NHL Heritage Classic. Then on November 16th through the 19th, you have the NHL Global Series in Sweden. After the NHL Global Series began last month in the preseason in Melbourne, Australia, the league heads to Europe in November. 4 teams will visit Stockholm, Sweden to play a total of 4 games at Avcii Arena. Here's the schedule. November 16th, you have the Detroit Red Wings versus the Senators. November 17th, you have the Red Wings against the Maple Leafs. November 18th, you got the Senators against the Minnesota Wild. And at November 19th, you have the Minnesota Wild versus the Maple Leafs again. On January 1st, 2024, at the NHL Winter Classic, the annual New Year's Day outdoor event will be held in Seattle for the first time this season. The Kraken and the Golden Knights, after meeting on opening night, will play at T-Mobile Park, home of the MLB Seattle Mariners, as they both make their Winter Classic debuts. So they haven't met since the opener, and they will play on January 1st in the 2024 NHL Winter Classic in the Seattle Mariners MLB Stadium. Will be pretty sick. We have a Canadian Football League stadium that was going to be played on October 29th, and we have the Seattle Mariners Stadium, the MLB Stadium, on January 1st in the 2024 NHL Winter Classic. Now, February 2nd to the 23rd, we have the 2024 All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend is headed to the north of border to Toronto, where festivals will be held at Scotiabank Arena. It will be the first time since 2012 as Ottawa and the Canadian city will host. The NHL All-Star Skills Competition is set for Friday, February 2nd, followed by the NHL All-Star Game on Saturday, February 3rd. Now, February 17th through the 18th, 2024 NHL Stadium Series. After outdoor games in Edmonton and Seattle, the fun continues in New Jersey. Over 2 days, 4 local teams will face off at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. The NFL's New York Jets and Giants Stadium has never held an NHL game. Here's the schedule. So this will be the first time an NHL game will be held at the New York Jets and the New York Giants Stadium at MetLife in East Rutherford. which is at least about 5 to 10 minutes away from my house. So, pretty sick. On February 17th, the Philadelphia Flyers is going to be versing the New Jersey Devils. And then it's going to be at February 18th, the New York Rangers versus the New York Islanders. That's going to be a great matchup as well. So two great games on February 17th, February 18th. What a way to celebrate having the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. One New York team and one New Jersey team all going into the same way in MetLife, where both New York football teams play, which is going to be cool. Now, March 8th is the trade deadline. The final day to make trades for the 2023-2024 season is March 8th, 2024. That gives teams just over a month to get new players acclimated before the regular season ends. On April 18th, the end of the regular season is over. The regular season's over, and 12 teams will play on April 18th to wrap up the 2023-2024 regular season. So on April 18th, there's going to be 12 teams playing on that day. It's going to be a lot of teams, and going to be a lot of teams going for wild card spots, going for different spots in the conference, and trying to make the playoffs. And then on April 22nd, to finish out all the key dates, the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs will be starting up on April 22nd. While the full playoff schedule hasn't been announced, we do know when the quest for the cup will begin, which is Monday, April 22nd, 2024. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is all asking. The NHL is going to be having one of the best seasons this year. I think every team is, at least 15 teams have a legitimate shot to be in the playoffs and to be in the standings to win the cup. We have a lot of teams that are pretty good this year, and we might have surprising teams. Again, we did not know. I don't think anyone thought, unless they're Blackhawks fans, thought that the Blackhawks, Connor McDavid, his first NHL game, was going to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Pittsburgh Penguins. I didn't think that was going to happen, and they beat them pretty handily, 4-2. So there are going to be some surprises this year. We don't know how the Panthers are going to go after they just made it to the Stanley Cup. We don't know how Vegas is going to respond. They did start out with a good win, beating the Kraken, but I mean, Kraken, they're okay. They're not crazy good. But let's see how the season goes. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much it here on the Fire Sports Pod show here on YouTube, where everything we do here is fire. You guys know the drill. So I hope you guys enjoyed my show. Again, we are on here Wednesday. We are going to be posting this on Friday at 5 a.m. And then right after this, we're going to record our Apple Podcast and Spotify show, and that will be posting as well at 5 a.m. on Friday. Tune into that. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys next week on Wednesday, and you guys will see this on Friday. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you later. Peace.